project that recovers crashed UFOs and has custody of the ones that have been picked up. They're the ones that run S4 and Area 51.
I thought that was something like Snowbird.
Snowbird is an Army project to recover crashed vehicles. Project Pounce takes all the other recovered materials from everybody else and takes it to Area 51. Colonel Steve Wilson, who was the head of Project Pounce at Area 51 before he retired, and he headed the recovery project, and the same people who recover them have custody of them out there in Area 51. It's in S4. And a time came when he knew too much. They also have live aliens, alien extraterrestrial living there. And a time came when apparently he knew too much, and he was given one of these fast-moving cancers. And when he was near death, he retired, medical retirement. And he came to the realization himself that it had been introduced because of some recent information that had just come into his possession that was super sensitive. From Korea, he was a lieutenant colonel, and he was assigned to Vandenberg Air Force Base, where he again fits his classification. He had no ties. He was not married. He didn't have any children. He didn't have any family. And he was quickly recruited into the program and taken inside and transferred from Vandenberg to S4, where he got further indoctrination. Steve Wilson was born in 1930. In 1930, just 7 years after my birth. And like me, he first became an aviation mechanic and then a flight engineer on a bomber. He applied for cadet training. He worked for General Crabb, was accepted for cadet training, and went to flight school at Kelly Field, pretty much as I did. He became a pilot from being a flight line mechanic, career flight line mechanic, became a career pilot. He flew F-86 Sabre jets in the combat in the war in Korea, where he took a bullet in the abdomen that left him bleeding heavily in the cockpit. He was trying to hold his guts in as he radioed the position report and his remaining fuel supply, and then he seemed to pass out, lose consciousness. What followed after that seemed to demonstrate some extraordinary assistance taking place. The air traffic control officer for the 67th Fighter Squadron control tower saw an unannounced airplane entering the traffic to land. The airplane was strangely surrounded by a green glow as it made a correct approach for landing. The airplane is still flying, approaches in the landing pattern with the engine running, and the engine quits on the rollout on the runway out of a good landing. The airplane flared out, made a perfect landing, rolled out, and as the mechanics ran to the airplane to get him out, the engine was stopped, and they found him unconscious in the cockpit. Now this is days later, after he took the bullet. He doesn't have gasoline but for a couple of hours, and he's out of fuel. They took him to the hospital. He recovered quickly, and on subsequent tests they discovered that his IQ had gone to a high figure from a normal figure. He had suddenly acquired a very high IQ that they couldn't account for. His IQ had gone from 162 to 232, a very high figure for anybody. And after this, he noticed an impressive increase in his extrasensory perception, ESP ability. Upon recovery from this, he was assigned to the 1st Air Force Special Services Command at Vandenberg Air Force Base. And I found that very interesting because shortly after that, and directly from there, he was transferred to Papoose Lake, S4 facility, and there he was briefed by a colonel that he was replacing on the security measures taken in transferring special craft from one part to another in S4. He was briefed by a new colonel that he was replacing about the movement of ships in S4. In time, he became the project officer in charge of Project Found, the project that's responsible for the recovery and storage of crashed UFOs. As I understood it, Project Found, created near the end of December of 1980, was in charge of the recovery of captured alien aircraft. And this recovery project was made up of elite Black Berets, Special Forces troops, and special components used in, collected and used together in the recovery of crashed discs, alien discs. Project Pounce dispatched troops, recovery troops to the site where they closed off the area, effected the recovery, and then sanitized the area afterwards and restored the ground to its appearance before the event happened. And he first reported this in Italy in an interview he gave there just before he went into the hospital to die of cancer. Colonel Steve Wilson was now enjoying cosmic top secret clearance, level Q-27. And in this capacity, he was in charge of storing the captured alien vehicles and the bodies of the occupants in Area S4. When he retired after some 40 years of active service, he was much decorated. I was sorry I didn't get to know him better. But he came, after he came back from Italy, he settled in Phoenix, and he was being treated there for his fast-moving cancer. And he had opened a website so he could publicize what was going on in S4. He had the same feelings as Carter Orion. He felt if he had had a fatal cancer, and which he now knew he knew it had to be introduced by his own superiors, and he knew that it had to be because he now knew too much himself and became a liability to them. And so he, also feeling that this security was misplaced, he intended to bring down the whole house of cards himself, but with his website. He was going to reveal all that he knew about S4, but his cancer worsened rapidly and he had to go into the hospital. He was under special control in a close observation ward in the hospital, where he and Bill Hamilton, decided to stage a conference in Phoenix, a UFO conference, where he would make his presentation and officially announce the opening of the website, and that he was going to publish everything he knew about S4 on the website. And the conference was scheduled to be developed quickly. It was going to come off in less than 2 weeks from the time they got the idea. They rushed out literature and